What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic dropping a car vlog. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Nobody tells you that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. Praying that we all tap into everything that God has given us, Himself, Son, the Holy Spirit, so we can all move on one accord. I think churches and everything like that, especially ones that follow Christ, we all supposed to move as one body, not more than one body. We're supposed to move as one body, and Christ is the head. So I say that for one, teamwork, and to also just speak about the importance of Christ down for our sins. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, the Taking Home Podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics, and I put up my matches as Classic Alpha, professional wrestler of 14 years. There's a playlist on this channel of all of the matches, so I know a lot of people be like, oh, if you complain or if you talk about wrestling, why don't you get in the ring and do it? I've been doing it for 14 years. Before Taking Home Podcast, before C3Os for wrestling, I was Chris Classic. I was a wrestler starting in 2012. Now I'm Classic Alpha, an updated version and stuff, and I'm still doing it and things like that. Wrestling is something that I really do care about and have a passion for, and I do think it's a gift from God that I will not waste. Make sure you also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling. That is me and my wife's professional wrestling company. A lot of craziness that's going on in the personal life. We still pushing on with C3 Ultimate Wrestling presents our 20th show, which will be May 23rd, Dyer, Indiana, Harold's Private Venue. Tickets are on sale on Eventbrite. They are $5 off, but there'll be $5 more at the door. Bars. Royce Keys. Royce Keys makes his SmackDown debut tonight. There was a vignette. I didn't watch most of it. I am going to go back and look at it, but basically, saying where you're from, not supposed to make it, and stuff like that. I saw some of it. I didn't see all of it, but he's making his SmackDown debut, basically a week before WrestleMania. It's a curious case for Royce Keys because Royce Keys made his WWE debut at the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. It was a little reaction, but it was like a big thing and stuff like that. Sometimes people just got to realize that sometimes people don't even care that AEW exists. I don't say that in a mean way. I don't mean to say that in a mean way, but like I know a lot of people are competition and all that. They're not competition. They're a great alternative if you feel like WWE has done some played out stuff. Not a big fan, but it is what it is. But still, Royce Keys, and a lot of people have been saying, like, ever since he debuted, when is he showing up? When is he debuting? When is he going to be at WrestleMania? Oh, he's going to be tagging with Jelly Roll. Oh, he's going to be tagging with this person. Who's going to be doing this? What's going on with that? What's going on? We're curious. What's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing? From Nigeria. Much love. So a lot of people saying what's going on, and then it's been weeks. No, not even weeks. Months since we've seen him wrestle. We've seen he was on an interview by Stephanie McMahon. We've seen the package of him like showing up in Saudi Arabia, getting ready for him. We've seen him doing a lot of stuff. So it's like, okay, they are expecting a lot of big things for Royce Keys. But then, where'd he go? Where did he go? Where was Royce Keys? Where is he at? Looking at the matches on WrestleMania, he's not there and stuff like that. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they brought up a good point. Shout out to them. They were saying, like, maybe they were trying to, like, wait until WrestleMania season is over, because sometimes people do, like, make impacts and stuff, and then they'll show up either the following Monday or Friday, and that's cool, and that could have been a possibility, because I do think this debut is just something because people have been asking about Royce Keys, but who knows, maybe he will have a WrestleMania match. But I do remember even like when Jade showed up at the Women's Royal Rumble, she showed up and stuff like that, and she was wrecking shop and all of that, but then she did have a match at WrestleMania. So I was like, okay, well, maybe they're going to do something like that, and maybe they are. I don't know. What is it? The Miz and Kid Wilson, apparently they have challenged Danhausen to a match, a handicap match. Who knows? Maybe Royce will be in that, or maybe Royce will do something. I don't know. But like I said, it's a lot of celebrity. No, I'm not. I'm from Texas, actually. A lot of celebrity involvement, like heavily involved. It's like very involved, but still. And I think that is another reason why people are upset with the management of Royce Keys as well, because they're like, dang, I got room for Jelly Roll, y'all got room for Ashok Speed, y'all got room for a lot of these people and stuff, but y'all don't have room for Royce Keys. And shout out to Royce, because a lot of people are excited to see him. They want to see him. They're like, where is he? He needs to be on TV. Now, some people will say, oh, well, he's similar to Oba because he's black and he has muscles. I don't even like that rhetoric, but as a black man myself, I understand what they're coming from. But I can't even say I agree with that 100% because there was a time where Brock Lesnar and Goldberg was under contract at the same time. One was on Raw, the other one was on SmackDown. So it looks like Oba will be a Raw superstar. So, and Royce is making his SmackDown debut. You can keep them separate on 2 shows, honestly. You can have a powerhouse on Raw and on SmackDown. They can brush shoulders with each other and stuff like that. So, you can do these kind of things. I don't see a problem with that. So, like I said, now, if they don't have something for him, I can say that too. They didn't have nothing for him, even though I felt like they could have. I don't want them to just squander his talent and waste his time and just to be on TV, just to be on TV. At one point, that was Carmelo Hayes, if y'all remember. At one point, Carmelo Hayes was like that. It was just like he was there, he came in, he faced Cody, and then it was just like, what is he doing? And then he was doing the stuff with Andrade, some good matches and stuff, but then it was just like some gray areas in between. Now it's looking like he may go through that situation again, which would suck. I do think he should have been in the WrestleMania thing. Like I said, WrestleMania's not here yet. WWE don't know what to do. They're trying to listen to fans and not listen to fans. Now you're trying to swerve Sammy and Trick, and now Sammy feels like this and that. Like, y'all don't know what y'all doing. And y'all don't know how to weather the storm. Sometimes everything that you do, the fans are not going to cheer. They're going to boo. So, like I said, even like going into the Cody situation, but that's another time. Appreciate it, Playboy. Appreciate it. It's another time. But still, Royce is definitely one of the ones that I was excited to see and I wanted to see. And now he's going to debut on SmackDown tonight. And expecting a good match. Like I said, while I was watching AEW, he was Powerhouse Hobbs. And Powerhouse. And he did great stuff. He was teaming with Ricky Starks, which is Ricky Saints now. I think he was a tag champ with Ricky. He was an FTW champion. He was a TNT champion. I liked him, but AEW, especially Tony, don't know how to book powerhouse guys. But I mean, Wardlow was a good example. Wardlow could have been a multi-time champion, but outside of injuries and stuff, they just didn't know. Like, I think Tony and his friends, they didn't want to book heavyweight wrestlers because they probably felt that, like, back in the day when wrestlers was like under 250 pounds or whatever like that, they wasn't considered a contender. They wasn't considered a top champion. They was considered cruiserweights. They was considered luchas. They were considered a whole bunch of other stuff. So I do think that Tony is trying to do a get back by not elevating a lot of heavyweight wrestlers. I think the heaviest heavyweight champion they had was Samoa Joe. He was 280. He was a 2-time champion. And I think that as much as I love Joe, one of my favorite wrestlers, I do think that that's just one of those ones that's they're just saying, here, we got a guy, he was almost 300 pounds, and he was a champion, so you can't say that. Like, just looking at the content, looking at the product, and looking at small guys lift up bigger guys, and looking at how these guys get jobbed out, is definitely a way that you can tell that, like, they weren't trying to elevate wrestlers that was over 250. It just wasn't. So, even with Hobbs and stuff like that, like I said, they don't have nothing for him. I can kind of understand why they wouldn't, but I would say that it's also crazy that you have stuff for Jelly Roll and you have stuff for ISO Speed and all of these other guys, and who knows who else is going to show up. So, if he does have a WrestleMania spot, that'll be cool. If not, we'll see what happens during the season, but it does look like he's going to wreck shop in SmackDown. And I'm also going to say that just because somebody debuts doesn't mean that they have to have like a undefeated streak or anything like that, but at the same time, you got to have a great build. To me, when you look at a guy the size of Forge Keys, he looks like a guy that a lot of people cannot beat and a lot of people cannot defeat and stuff like that. Same thing with Over. Same thing with Brock. Similar situations and stuff like that, because a lot of people like to expose the business and stuff like that, but you dip and dab into things of reality sometimes when it comes to certain things. And in reality, it's not a lot of people that should be beating Royce Keys. Brock has taken some L's, but Brock has not taken a lot of L's for a reason. Goldberg has taken L's, but he has not for a reason. Even Gunther has taken L's, but he has not taken a lot of L's for a reason. You gotta have that same energy for guys like Royce and Ober. You just have to. Like, to me, at this point, especially with wrestling out there and on the internet, if those guys that size, if they lose a lot, most likely they're either in trouble or they're going to be benched or kicked out. And you got to have that same motion. You got to have that same motion and stuff like that, you know? Like I said, with being in AEW for so long and then going to WWE, sometimes you do have to unlearn stuff. I think Jade Cargill had to unlearn some stuff too. And like I said, I think this is the best of what we're going to have with Jade. And I love Jade, actually. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that in a bad way, but what you see is what you get. Royce, we're going to see what's going to happen. We're going to see if there's a difference and stuff like that, because sometimes his matches wasn't that long, you know? But we'll see where it goes. But it is a curious case that it's like now you announce the day before, oh yeah, Royce Keys is going to be debuting on SmackDown and stuff like that. And like I said, this story is very touching and things like that. But I also want him to be bigger than the story. I mean, last time we seen somebody that was talking about a story, it got played out, now everybody's booing him and stuff like that. But let's see what he has. You know, hopefully his story and stuff does motivate people that are in similar situations or in the same situation as him and stuff like that. But we'll see where it goes. But let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for Royce Keys? Think he's going to make a big impact? What are they going to do with him? Do you think they're going to put him on WrestleMania? Let me know. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.